Why, hello there, beautiful chaos gremlins and brotatoes. Welcome back to Engineering Chaos, a podcast where my co host and I talk about life as female engineers, give career advice to those coming up behind us, and what's the last part? Shit. Oh, talk about corporate America as it continues to screw us all. Yeah. So, we've just been chit chatting away prior to starting the call.
Both of us deciding we are going towards paths of not being in corporate America anymore. We're trying to get away.
We're gonna be corporate
We are going to be
dropouts.
corporate.
We're gonna be corporate
It's going to
dropouts.
happen.
It better happen because I'm spending way too much money on becoming a corporate dropout right now. So,
It makes no sense, but I understand at the same time.
so remember how I told you I made that big decision where I dropped a grand at Coaching Con?
Mm-hmm.
So it was more than a grand that the long run
Right?
thing. There's a weekly payment that came with all of that. So those people are helping me, obviously, get my shit
Mm,
together and build everything. And so much. I've been with them for like, what, a
yeah.
month now? So many knowledge bombs. And some of it is like really obvious to some people, but I just needed to hear it in a way that
Yeah.
resonates with me. AKA someone that says fuck all the time and just gives it to you straight.
Yes.
um but like some things are just like, oh, that makes total sense because I am good at creating content. I am not good at marketing.
Yeah. You overthink the
Whereas
marketing all the time.
absolutely, I can create stupid shit that everybody resonates with. Like I did it recently. I was just like, this is fucking stupid. I used an audio from a hell of a
Yeah.
boss and it blew up. And I'm like, why? Why is it always this stupid ass
The
fucking
things that you
shit?
don't overthink.
Anyways,
Yeah, it's actually really good.
yeah, but I mean, as a fitness coach, you have to at least like provide some value. You can't just do all stupid shit, you know?
Sometimes you
But
have to start with a stupid
I
shit
mean,
for a
even
while until you actually get a following, and then you can like slowly start incorporating the.
well, I have a following and I'm for me it's figuring out the
Mm-hmm.
blend, right? They said recently again, random knowledge bombs that I never really like it's not in like it's obvious but it's not kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. In content, if you don't actively stand for or against things, it just goes in the middle of nowhere. You have to create controversy because no matter what you say, you're creating controversy.
Facts.
There is someone that is going to disagree
Always.
with you, so you can't be a coach for everybody. You have to literally pull out random shit and be like, if you're not this, you don't belong here. Go away.
Yeah.
It's like inclusive
Well,
versus
you have to
exclusive
be
marketing.
more. Yeah. Uh. Uh. More rigor. More mean. More mean.
I mean, mean doesn't have to be like,
Ah.
for instance, one of my best pieces of content is me making fun of fitness
Is that
influencers.
not mean?
No, because
Oh
they
my
deserve
god!
it.
She said it. I knew you were gonna say that.
Like, let's
No,
be
I mean you're
real.
not wrong.
Scammy ass fitness influencers
You're not
deserve it.
wrong though. But it's still kind of bullying, but it's bullying the bad people. So is it wrong? No.
I don't consider it bullying. I call it because some people love the fitness influencer stuff, right? You're just finding your people in your
Hmm.
marketing, right? I'm not going out if I was going out and actively attacking a particular fitness
Yeah.
influencer, right? For this is a bad example because I actually do love this person as a content creator, but if I went out and attacked former Fat Guy Fitness for all of his jank protein reviews, then I would be attacking a
Right.
person. That is bullying.
Fair.
Just
Fair.
generally saying, hey, I stand against scammy
Fair. That's just
influencers.
leaning into a stereotype. I got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, people lean into the gamer stereotype
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
I mean, but the gamer stereotype is so diverse though. Because It
didn't
didn't
used to
used to be,
be.
but now it is. There's so many different kinds of
Now it's
it's
getting
getting there,
there.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there are still some similarities between, but there's like because there's so many different kinds of gamers now. Like female gamers, they play all of the ranging games, whether it be like Sims 3 or COD. And then you got the males too,
Or
or
cozy
cozy
games, because cozy games are
that
awesome.
too. And then you got the guys who also play whatever games they want, but they both bring their own different kinds of personalities into it, and I kind of love it.
Well, then you've got like pros too,
Yeah,
right? Pros, like the pro categories of like League of Legends and Fortnite and all of those.
that goes beyond me.
I'm working
That,
I'm working on a YouTube video right now, so I've been doing a
mm,
lot of research of a lot of the pros hiring trainers or pro teams hiring trainers and things like that, purely because they're starting to treat esports like actual sports,
uh,
training physically and then also training the game.
I'm confused. I need more information on this.
So there's a lot of studies saying recently that like the top pros, like gamer wise, like top 10% pros,
Are better at
um,
gaming if they actually
are
physically do the things? Oh, healthier.
healthier.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that too. But because of like a lot of people think with pro gamers that they just need to put more time into the game to get better at the game. No one's really thinking about the outside effects, things that like sitting in front of a screen all day, the diet aspect of it, the physical with arthritis and things like that from continuous movement in the
I am
same joints.
following now.
Things that you would typically think of with a professional sports player, right? With football players, you're worried about concussions, you're worried about joint injuries, you're worried about being able to maintain their season. So you want to do a lot of
Hmm.
recovery during the off weeks in between games. Same thing with like basketball players where they have multiple games a week. You need to do whatever you can in the off time for recovery. With esports players, people are finding that as you adjust your diet on game day, that can help with mental focus. If you're training, weight training, and doing cardio and
Hmm.
things like that, you can improve your endurance during long tournaments as well as your
Yep.
reaction times. Something as simple as a millisecond reaction time can
The outcome.
change the outcome between one pro and
Okay, so
another.
example. Because I was thinking of the situation like this where it's the pro gamer, let's say they play FIFA. If they train exactly like a football player, does that make them better at the game?
I mean, I don't. I've heard so. Forza, you made an interesting one because Gran
Mm,
Turismo, they literally ran this
right.
theory. They took a bunch of pros in Gran
Mhm.
Turismo and made them actual
Mhm.
drivers.
And it was
So it depends
it,
on
w-
the game,
what was
I think, realistically speaking, in that
yeah,
that
what was
realm.
okay, so what was the outcome of that one again? Because I can't quite remember. Yeah.
Gran Turismo, the guy's an actual like pro driver now. The guy that won like the whole thing because it was a whole like boot camp kind of thing.
Oh shit. So
So they did a movie on it recently, and the guy that won it was actually the stunt driver in the
so our
movie.
sim games are up to par, like our
They
the
can
physics
be.
and all of that.
Obviously, they did real car driving
Okay,
too
well,
in the
okay,
boot camp.
yeah. Okay, so
But they
it
use
wasn't like right off the
Sims.
bat. Oh, here you go.
Pi-
Immediately search.
I mean, think about how pilots train.
Yeah,
Pilots
they
have to
have to go through.
do significant amount of
Oh
sim
yeah,
hours before
true.
they fly.
Okay.
So the Sims can be representative. They're not going to be 100%
No.
representative, but it's more on the gamer side with the pro gamers. It's more of thinking about how the health and fitness side, which a lot of gamers don't think
Yeah.
about. Look at the gamer stereotype. A lot of people think gamers and they think Doritos and a 2 liter soda.
Oh yeah.
They don't think they don't think physically fit and they don't think like CrossFit athletes. But as of late, a lot more of the pro gamers are setting aside
Mhm.
time for physical fitness, and so much so that people are starting to compete as CrossFit athletes as well as pro
Yeah.
gamers. Um, and they have found in studies and things like that, when it comes to esports players, that change actually betters their performance in game,
Interesting.
just from like mental changes, supplement vitamin D because gamers spend a lot of time
Mhm.
indoors, so their energy is different. Um, there's a whole team that like people were studying out of Britain called Excel, and that's kind of what my whole YouTube video is based around, is their kind of
Mhm.
take on it, and how if people want to start gaming like the pros,
Yeah.
because this could apply to just
Well,
regular streamers too,
yeah.
right? You don't want to be a perfect gamer, but you want to be an
Yeah,
entertainer. If you're lost in the
I have
woods
an example of that. I have an example of
mentally,
that. So like Captain Sparkles, he's been around for like so long, the beginning of YouTube almost. And he has always put his like health first. And that shows through his gameplay and the fact that he's been on YouTube for over a decade. I don't know, maybe even like 2
longevity.
decades now. I don't know. I don't want to like show his age right now. But
Most of the OG YouTubers have been on for like 2 decades, because I mean, YouTube came around middle school, high school for me,
right.
and
So like
that's
he being able to continue to do that and he still goes on today, that's like that shows that definitely the mental and physical health of the gamer is important regardless. And I don't even think it's just gaming, it's just everybody. Mental and physical health of
I mean,
everybody.
yes, it's
But
everybody, but due to the fact that I work with gamers, I started
yes.
looking into, like, say you want to go pro, you want to be a big top
Mhm.
streamer, right? You have to put focus on yourself. Then that feeds back into your stream and your
Exactly.
gaming. And because a lot of the people that I am finding that are following me and becoming a part of my audience are also streamers.
Oh, yay.
And a lot of people in the streaming realm really struggle because they spend so much time live. It's not like with YouTube videos where you go and record your
Mhm.
gameplay and then you go edit it and then you post it and it does what it
Right.
does. With live streaming, you're live for some
And
of
how long are they
these
live for?
people that are like, depends. Some of these guys do like 10 to 12 hours a
Oh,
day.
oh my god.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the pros do at least like 12 hours a
Yeah,
day
they
in
got to do
game.
more physical
So you've got
activity
to kind of,
during their streams.
you well, it's not even just during the stream. Like, yes, you can do that. A lot of people have like workout redeems that people can redeem with their like channel points or whatever
Mhm.
in their streams to go make them do exercises. I have death penalty that I put on when I'm not fighting bosses, because I'm playing Crab Souls right now, and bosses in Crab Souls are impossible, and I would die if I tried to do exercises for every time I died. Anyways, I've got death penalty, and I've got a couple other, like, I turned off the give me 20 redeem when I have death
Mhm.
penalty on, just because I don't want to add on top of death penalty. But it's not even just about the streaming though. It's about finding like pockets of time outside of your stream, right? You can take 15 minutes after your stream to do some stretches to make sure that you put your muscles all right back where they need to be after sitting in a chair for
Mhm.
12 hours. Um you can do 2 to 3 days a week, right? You do 30 minutes in the morning before you hop on stream, cuz most of these streamers aren't on stream all day,
Mhm.
right? They start in like the afternoon and have some time in the morning to do pre-stream stuff. They just have to make that
Yeah.
priority. And with more and more studies coming out about how it impacts game, that will kind of ring in some gamers' heads of, hey, if I can get better performance in my game, I might as well go
Yeah.
do it. So
I feel like
that's the deep dive saga I've been in lately.
I bet. And I bet sleep has a huge impact on it too.
So that's the part that I brought into it in this series that I'm doing, because none of the studies are showing sleep as a piece of it. It's all about diet and movement, which valid points, but sleep has an impact on all of
Yeah,
that.
so you'd have to look at
And gamers are
you
notorious
would
night
just have to
owls.
look at the greater studies that are done based on sleep, but not specific to gamers.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's thousands
Yeah.
of studies done on
Why
sleep
don't
at that
you
point,
make a
right?
study?
No, that is not what I meant this for.
Should write a thesis.
Because every study is, the results tend to be dependent on who funded it, right? They want to give you an
Yeah.
answer. Uh, Studies can be interpreted in any way, and there's plenty of sleep studies. Like, I don't need any more.
Don't need
There's
more.
no sleep studies, because just because someone's a gamer, that doesn't mean the sleep aspect of their health and fitness isn't going to change. Like, they're not going to magically change
No.
that. It's just gamers are more notorious for being night owls
Yeah.
and not sleeping.
Well, I don't think being a night owl is bad per se, as long as you still get in the amount.
If you still correct the
Yes.
sleep. But you got to think, if you're building, for instance, building a business, building your stream, you're probably also working,
Constantly.
which adds more stress to the stress you're already putting
Yeah.
on your body, being a gamer, streamer, big tournaments, whatever. Because the stress of trying to win a tournament isn't
Yeah.
insignificant. So if you are also not recovering properly on top of that, all of that training you're doing to help your mental, like to help your brain and help your body, isn't going to do shit because you're not recovering, because you're not
Exactly.
sleeping. So, like, it's a balance, but that's one of the videos in this series, because it's a 4-video series. One talking, like, I grabbed a bunch of like experts and studies and stuff that have talked about kind of gaming and fitness on YouTube to kind of put into the video. So that's video 1. Video 2 is, what is video 2? Oh, deep diving the actual case study that was the team that I talked about in the first video. So deep diving what they do with their diet, because their trainer put out like a whole article on like what they do for cardio, what they do for strength training, just like a high level, because obviously every individual member of the team is different. But the kind of interesting piece of that was they talked about game day diet versus like their regular diet. So that was curious. And then there's a piece focused solely on like changing nutrition for performance, and then a piece on sleep. So
Good shit.
yeah, those are the 4 for June, because those won't come out till June. I'm still working on editing them, and they're all filmed.
I
But
mean, that's impressive.
they,
The fact that you have them filmed so far in advance.
it's because it takes me forever to edit, and I have to film short
Yeah.
form still. And then today on stream, we were recording on Friday, so it is a stream day for me. I am doing part 2 reaction. So there has been this disgusting video floating around the internet that was called Fat Men versus Fit Men. It's a thing that this particular channel does. They do this thing called Middle
Okay.
Ground. They did it with Exmos and Mormons too.
Okay.
That one was actually kind of interesting. But the whole purpose is try to get the two opposite sides to see like a middle ground on specific topics.
Oh, okay.
However, with the men, they invited one particular personality in the fitness space that pretty much all of us have disowned. And we said he's not one of us. And none of the participants knew that guy was participating. He's from Fresh and Fit. His name's Myron. I don't know what his last name, but he runs the Fresh and Fit podcast, and that podcast has gotten a lot of hate. But this is the guy in the clips that I sent you that said that fat people belong in concentration camps.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I blind reacted to that video on Twitch last week for Fitness Friday, and I'm gonna do the women version, because apparently before they released the men version, they did one with women. They want to see if it's less hostile than the men one was. Because the men spent a lot of time trying to speak for women that weren't there.
I don't. Okay, so I think magnitude wise, it might not be less hostile, but I think average wise, yes, it'll be less hostile.
We'll see. I'm blind reacting. I haven't seen any of it. I knew a little bit about the men one going in just because I had seen it floating around TikTok, but I know nothing about the women one. So we'll see. I've noticed in the fitness space that more men tend to be the gym bro a-holes than women. I haven't seen so much. I don't like putting it this way, but right wing extremism with the women in the fitness space.
Fair.
Because a lot of men in the fitness space will bring it outside of
Yeah.
fitness. They'll bring it
Politics
into
and shit.
like, you need to be fit and jacked to be
What?
married and to like exist in society.
What?
Like they'll bring it really weird.
Okay.
And like most women I've noticed are just like, hey, I want you to be healthy for the sake of being
Same.
healthy.
That's relatable.
But like, for instance, one of the questions that was asked to the men was, I feel disgusted when I see a fat body.
That's
So I'm hoping the questions are a little bit different too, because I feel like the questions with the men were literally created to drum up controversy.
me. You're not wrong. Hopefully they're the same because I want to see that kind of experiment. But yeah,
I would love for them to be the same, but I'm almost certain they're not.
no, they won't be.
I'm just curious to see if there are as many like hard opinions, right? Because two of the people that participated on the jacked men side of the last one were very like, anyone who exists in a bigger body is glorifying being obese, especially if they share their life online. They were very, it's simple, just do it the thing. It's a discipline problem, not a like, we need to bring shaming back kind of people. Not, and then the other two were very like empathetic, like it's science based, we need to do, have you ever felt confused? They were actually interested in finding the middle ground.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how the women, and I'm interested to see who's participating in the women one too, because I knew of two of the four of the jacked ones that were on the men
Mhm.
one. So I don't know if I'm gonna know any of the women. It'll be interesting
And
to say the least, because they're all mostly like YouTube
oh,
personalities and
so
things like that.
they're
And
not
ironically, given that I'm a
trainers.
no, but some of them are trainers. Like one of them was an actual, like I think he was a celebrity trainer
Oh
on like
shit.
one of the like Biggest Loser
Okay.
type shows, and now he's like a YouTube personality. Like I had
Mhm.
seen him prior to seeing him on YouTube. I just don't remember where I had
Okay.
seen him. It was some
Yeah.
TV show. It wasn't Biggest Loser, but it was something like that. And then the two of them, the two quieter ones of the four, were both trainers. One was like a bodybuilder and a trainer, and he's also on like YouTube. A lot of trainers are just building their clientele on YouTube
Oh
nowadays
my
because
god,
it's
so
easy.
easy. It's
Let's
so
be
easy.
real. Um, and then the other one, he didn't really speak a lot. He just kind of
Oh god.
existed. I don't think he competes or anything like that. I think he truly was just a trainer.
Oh, like classical.
Because yeah, he might be an online trainer now. I don't know. Obviously, he has a big enough following somewhere that Jubilee
Right.
found him. But there were a lot of people in the comments on some of the like TikTok clips of things were like, this one's my trainer. I loved him. He was great. So like obviously like he's a decent
Good.
coach, and his takes were pretty standard for good coaches. So
He was just like, what the
of what minimal he
he's just
did
like, what the
say,
fuck are these other people
yeah, pretty
saying?
much.
I'm just gonna stay in my lane and talk about what I know, but Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's pretty much, you can clock him
Side
doing
eye.
like what?
Bit,
Yeah.
what?
And of course the one that has the most obscene takes was the one that talked the most. So,
It's always the person that talks the most.
the poor mediator on that one. The mediator was just like, "No, let's not go down that rabbit
Really,
hole."
they were like, oh, too
Like,
far.
well, because the one, like there was one question that was like jacked men are more attractive or something like that. And Myron kept trying to say what women think, and there were zero women there,
Right.
so there wasn't even really anyone to refute him. He just kept going, well, you asked me what's attractive. I'm assuming what you mean what women find attractive. And I'm like, no, that wasn't the question, sir. It's just, are jacked bodies more attractive? And it really depends.
Yes. We talking jacked bodies on
um,
women? Cause I think so.
I'm not gonna give my opinion on that because, anyways, what was I gonna say? That's kind of the perfect spin though, because I had a different topic I wanted to talk about, but this came up and I think we
Of
have
course
to
we
talk
do.
about it. I cannot leave this without talking about it.
Fact. We have to talk about it.
So we're gonna talk about, like everybody else on the internet right now, the Harrison
The
Butker
butt licker
speech.
speech.
Part one that has nothing to do with the controversial shit he said. He literally called, like, I am not a Swiftie, but he literally called Taylor Swift my teammate's
Uh-huh.
girlfriend.
Uh-huh. I wonder if like he asked if he could name drop her and then she was like, "No."
Oh, he definitely didn't. Because the entire NFL and, like, the Chiefs organization are like, we don't know what the fuck he was doing. It was personal time. He does not represent us in that
Oh shit.
speech. Like, they have
They
all
said
come
nope.
out. Like, he tried to clarify. Have you seen the
No.
clarification from the
No.
speech? Okay, I'm gonna have to pull that up because that's worse than the speech itself.
No way. All right, well, you can share your screen and go on YouTube
Yeah.
as we figured out the last I I still need to look at the stupid podcast video for that.
Oh, speaking of sharing screens, your what's it called? Your little Prezi got a copyright strike, by the
Fuck.
way.
From what?
Not a strike, but like a copyright
Flag.
little thing on
Okay.
YouTube. It was from the Gummy Bear song. I should have known that was gonna be a thing, but yeah, response. Because the response is just glorious. And from what I've seen, people haven't been able to like validate that it actually came from him and it wasn't just some random
Mhm.
meme. But if it did actually come from him, Lord help us all. Just
I love how I
um
started sending you TikToks about it and you were like, "Did you even watch the whole thing?" And I'm like, "Bitch, I read the transcript."
uh I don't remember. You've sent me a couple things recently, and I'm like, there's more
Oh
context to
yeah.
that, and I don't think it
No,
was
there's
this
a lot of
because I
context.
didn't know anything
Oh,
about
there's a
this
lot of context in that
before you
speech.
started.
There's a there's a
There
lot of
is.
context. I don't think it gets better with
He
context. Just saying.
okay. I can't find it, and I'm not gonna go digging through
Okay.
content. Go digging
Yeah.
through TikTok, but anyways, he literally says the words "my teammate's girlfriend" about Taylor Swift. Like what? Uh, like, I'm not a Swifty by any means. I
It's
just
the
am
word
not.
choice.
It's
It's
not
the
my
word
thing.
choice. It's not
Yeah,
even
it
about the
is.
whole
It
it
is.
being Taylor Swift. It's the word choice.
Not only is it the word choice, but I think going into what's the most viral about this speech, because there are several pieces of it that are floating around on platforms like
Yeah.
TikTok, but the most viral piece is wrong time, wrong place, in my opinion. I wasn't shocked that at a Catholic school environment and by a Catholic that they think women should be homemakers. That's not new.
Oh no.
Growing up adjacent to the Mormon church, growing up around religion, like I grew up in a Baptist school where like all the teachers married each
Mhm.
other, like that didn't
Yeah.
shock
No.
me. That's not
No.
news to
Literally when I
anybody.
sent this video to my mom and all of the different memes that followed along, she was like, "Where did he speak at this college? I need to know. Was it BYU?" She was like, "It wasn't BYU."
I mean, it could have
She kept
been.
thinking it was.
Because I
I
was
was like,
like,
I don't know.
B-
I don't know.
BYU is literally known as the MRS degree school. So, like,
Exactly.
again, that stuff didn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
No.
But it was not appropriate at a college graduation.
Yeah, right as you just finished 4 maybe more years of a lot of work and paid a lot of money, and now you're in a lot of debt, most likely. And then you
It was a private school, so
yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah. And then you get told, yeah, your degree is worthless because you're just gonna stay at home and be a mom. And you're gonna be fulfilled by that. Okay, mwah, bye.
So I understand a lot of people do want that life.
Which is fair if you want that life, but you can't just generalize it and say everybody wants that life.
And I don't think he's like in the speech, he doesn't say everybody. He says, I would venture to guess that a lot of you
I guess.
are looking forward to
I
being this.
If they are devout Catholics and they do believe in that stuff, sure, but I don't know if that's the majority.
It was a Catholic school. So
People can go to
someone approved
correct.
this speech.
But
That's the
listen,
other
someone
thing.
can go to a private Catholic school and just be there getting a degree because they have a really good program. Not because they're Catholic.
I mean, someone could go to BYU and not be Mormon, but they're still going to try and force you to do
Of
it.
course.
I am less offended by, because, like, know your audience, right? That is the audience. It's more the fact it's wrong time, wrong place. Why would you say something like, why does that have anything to do with commencement? That's what I'm, like, annoyed by. Just, because when it comes to the actual content of what he said, right? For me specifically, I am in the it doesn't matter realm. I get zero fulfillment from promotions at work. Like, job is a
Yep.
job. I want to run my own shit, and that, like, I get a lot of fulfillment when I have client
That's your
success.
motivation.
Like, that is one of it's
Yeah.
glorious. But I've been a wife at the same age a lot of religious kids become
Right.
wives, if not a little older. I have been a wife just as long as most of them at this point, and I don't feel like that defines anything about me. Like, he's just my other attachment. Like, I love him. Don't take that out of context. I love my husband. He is one of the best things that has ever happened to me, and I will say
It's
that
a
openly.
symbiotic relationship.
Nothing changed the day we got married than from when we were dating. I didn't have some magic fulfillment from becoming a wife. And truthfully, the only reason we went legal is because of the legal government benefits of going legal.
Taxes, all right.
Like, the legal aspect of it meant nothing. And clearly, we weren't religious. We got married on a fucking beach and had tequila shots at the end of it. Like, let's be real here.
Kind of romantic.
We didn't have any religious component. Except for the fact that we got married in a very Catholic country. So there was a religious component to our ceremony just purely because of the country we got married in.
Okay.
Because I had to have like a pastor in the country that we got married in. We had to have a religious entity perform it, or else it wouldn't have been
void.
Legal per their rules or whatever, and we couldn't sign our license. So when it comes to like the being a wife part, right? I'm obviously not a mom.
Well,
and
you are. You're a fur mom.
I live. I'm one of those people that I don't like. The job of a fur mom is not the same as the job of a mom.
No, it's a different level for sure.
It is.
I see it as like human mom, fur mom. Like, you have some
Yeah,
effort
like
put into a being that's not
obviously.
yourself, and it's a shared being between you two, but it's not a human being that you physically made. So there is a huge gap.
Uh,
I'm not denying that.
and like animals are animals. You're not gonna like if I travel, I'm gonna leave my animals at home. If I traveled and had a kid, my kid's coming with me.
Yeah,
Like that's a little bit different. Like if I moved, my animals are obviously coming
right.
with me. I don't care if I ended up in a different country, I would figure out how to get them with me.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, an
but
asshole and be like, every vacation you take, you just leave your kid behind with a babysitter or a nanny and go on vacation.
I think because I grew up as an only child, that agitates the shit out of me because my parents took me everywhere.
I had a little mix of both. I had a little
I
mix of both, so I didn't mind. I didn't mind.
I can name one vacation in 18 years that I didn't go on with my parents, and it was an anniversary trip they took
Well,
to Hawaii and they left
duh.
me at home.
It's
It was an
it's
anniversary trip. It makes sense.
there.
And I was like
Yeah,
11. So I wasn't young. I wasn't like I was going to school, going to dance. I was in my rhythm. It didn't really bother me that they weren't there for a
right.
few
You're
weeks.
like,
Like it
sweet.
didn't bother me. I understood what they were doing. And I think it's important to have trips alone when
Oh
you have
yeah,
kids. Obviously, like you need to do things
yeah.
by yourself. But when it comes to like people saying, if you have a lot of kids, right? There's a popular reality star that is getting a lot of heat right now because she didn't take her not infant twins. They're like a couple months old. I think they were born in like November. And this was like in March couple-month old twins on a family vacation. She left them at home with their dad because she has multiple kids. She has 7 kids in
Mhm.
total. So she took the older kids on the vacation and so that they could have fun and enjoy because tiny infants and younger kids are really hard to do
Yeah,
vacations with, and it puts strain on the older
yeah.
kids because they
I don't
can't do what they want if mom's doing whatever the hell with
exactly.
the
I see
infant.
nothing wrong with this example though.
I don't either. But she's getting a lot of heat because people are like, why didn't you
Well,
take the whole family? Why didn't
they're not gonna
everybody go?
remember
Like,
anyway. And if the husband's just staying behind and actually being like a good husband and being like, yeah, I'm gonna put forth effort. You go with the other kids, and I'll take care of the little ones. The fuck? Seems
exactly.
like a fair trade.
However, some people say the same thing about Disney. Like, they're not going to remember it. They're too young to remember it, like taking young kids
Yeah.
to Disney. And uh, if I had to travel to go to Disney, I might have the same thought. But because I live here locally and it's pretty
Yeah.
easy, if I were to have kids, I'd probably take them to Disney all the fucking time. I grew up in the theme park, so like that's a memory that I
Exactly.
have, mostly just from like pictures and
Same.
stuff. But I remember growing up in the
Same.
parks.
Exactly. Yeah. Mom would take me out of school. We'd be like,
but
all right, we're going to a doctor's appointment. Goes to Disney.
but going back to the like becoming fulfilled,
Mhm.
right? Nothing changed when I got married.
No.
Like nothing changed. And maybe it does change for a lot of religious kids that like, they can't live with their partner before they get married. They're obviously not fucking before they get married and shit like that. Like it could change a lot. But for me, who didn't live that religious aspect, right? He lived with me almost instantaneously from the time we started
Mhm.
dating. And obviously there's more that comes with that. But I knew a lot of his mannerisms. Like we were both working and out of school and it didn't change anything.
Right.
So there was no extra fulfillment from becoming a wife. And I totally understand the kids thing. Like that is a bond that nobody else can understand. However, that doesn't mean that's their only purpose
Yeah.
in life. Because some people who have kids still get more fulfillment out of their careers.
Exactly. Because maybe they were never really, they didn't really desire to be a parent. They more desired their career, and they just did being a parent because society or pressure
I mean, there's that, but
or just
also
false hope.
not to the point of you worked 4 years, wrong time, wrong place, right? You worked 4 years to get that degree. a lot of people, when I voice not wanting to be an engineer anymore, are like, but you got the degree, you've been working in it for so long, it's a good job, blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Fulfill you.
it doesn't do anything.
It pays the bills.
And some people feel that way about being a wife and mom.
Right.
Like, I am more so in the center where if I had the opportunity to swap roles with my husband, I
Mhm.
would. I would not work, right? I would be building my business and I would be doing everything I could to bring in my own
Right.
funds for several reasons. Because, yes, I trust my partner, I love my partner, and I don't expect anything to happen, but I can't live on pure trust and belief. I just
Mm-mm.
can't.
Mm-mm.
I watched what happened with my parents. They were married for 20 years and they got divorced in an email. So I personally, after watching that, couldn't let someone control everything about
Oh
me.
no. No, no, no.
Literally have, like, I'm not in any sort of situation where I shouldn't trust that my husband, like, that's not what it is. It's just I can't. It's the me thing.
I don't
I
think
can't
that's
do
a
it.
wrong thing. That's just it's your prenup. It's your contractual agreement to yourself that you are going to always protect yourself. No matter how much you trust the other person, you're still going to protect yourself.
Absolutely. However, going to that point, if roles reversed and he became the sole provider and we decided to have kids, I totally would do the stay at
Yeah.
home mom thing. But I would still be work from home mom. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
Yeah.
Because I think I would go insane, especially like maybe the first couple years. I kind of let, like, I have a business that runs itself,
Mhm.
right? I don't have to do a whole lot. I'm not like direct one-on-one
Right.
coaching for the first couple years. But once they go into school, I would go insane. Let's be real. I can't just sit at home and do
No.
nothing all the
No.
time. Um, that's not me. But I know a lot of people that being a homemaker is all they ever
That's my
wanted. I mean,
mom.
there's a one of the moms from Dance Moms has openly said that was all she
Yeah.
ever wanted. She never went to school. She never, like, because that was all she
Mhm.
ever wanted.
I would I was just saying that my mom has always wanted to be a homemaker. Like she grew up, she was like I always wanted to be a mom, right? She still got her degree.
My aunt's like that. I mean, I think, personally speaking, this is me, myself, and I conjecture because Utah is Utah. Growing up in Utah Mormon culture, I think some of my aunt's decisions were based on that. I don't know, knowing how kind of my family functions, if she wasn't deeply rooted in the church, I don't know that she would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
She still went to school and she's helping one of her kids build a business now because she did like an accounting degree or something like that, so she can do all the books and things like that. So
Oh, cool.
just,
That's
it's coming
awesome.
in handy now that all of her child
Y-
raising is basically done because her youngest is 17, 16, something like that. So
Mhm.
there is a benefit, I think, even because you're not going to be a mom forever, right? If that is your only vocation and that is
No.
your only fulfillment, what do you do when there's no one there anymore?
Well, I mean, technically you are a mother forever.
Okay, that's not, you're not mothering. You're not. It's not considered, right. He
Yes.
specifically said
Yes.
fulfill your vocation, your true vocation, or something like that, as a wife and mother. If that is your only vocation for your entire life, what do you do when all your kids are done being raised? Obviously, as adults, there's a little bit of a raising factor with adult kids too, but the hard part
Right.
is done.
Some would say, but yeah.
There's debate to be said with adults being in these generations and then in these times with adults being done being raised, but in theory that's the way the world works.
In theory. Yeah.
you should be done mostly with the hard part at 18 when they move out and go do what they're going to do, in theory.
Exactly.
So that's the part that I struggle with, is just like wrong time, wrong place. Because I fully, like, I'm not saying that people that just want to be homemakers don't exist, because they do. But also the fact that he said women, like, he addressed the women specifically because
Oh, he addressed the men. He addressed the men
no, no,
specifically
no.
too. That side was also kind of
Men push
wild
culture
within itself.
forward and blah blah blah. I know that part, but I'm saying when it comes to the homemaker
Yeah.
piece, because some, I'm not right, wrong, or different. I'm not saying how people feel on this. However, some men love being stay-at-home dads. Their wife is the
Facts.
breadwinner, and that works for them.
And they're great at it too.
That too. Because in some of those cases, the whole, like, she didn't really want to be a mom, she only did it because society made her. That's usually where the stay-at-home dad comes into play, because dad really wanted kids and
Facts.
mom didn't want to give up her career.
Exactly. Which is a fair thing to do. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. I I think it's a great thing for those that it works for. I don't think it works for a lot of people, because in my opinion, when you're in a situation like that, this isn't everybody, but for the most part, there is someone that is resenting that kid because they didn't want to have it in the first place. And this could go either way, with the dads that don't want parents.
Yeah. That's sad though. That what I don't want to go down that route. But you're right. It does happen, but I don't want to that's sad. Okay. I don't think he was addressing those people. I
No,
mean, maybe he was. I don't
but
know.
I mean, that's in my opinion, that is a aftermath or a consequence of some mindsets like that, is when women live in a society
True.
that they're told that the only thing that they should be is a wife and mother, but they don't want to be. So they marry someone who's a part of that society, and all they want is kids, kids, kids. Then dad
Yeah.
becomes super dad. Mom is probably
Or
resenting those kids,
doesn't.
or doesn't, right? If dad wants to live in
Well,
that
cuz
society
I
too.
I cuz I think I have the flip of the coin where it's where dad was just told always, Mormon growing up, you're going to have kids, you're going to be the breadwinner, you're going
Well,
to
that
do
puts
that.
a unique level of
And
pressure on
it's
dad too.
ingrained in his exactly. And I think that ended up short-circuiting him and he wasn't able to provide as much of the emotional support
Oh, I totally agree.
in the relationship.
I mean, you know this, and I might have mentioned this on the podcast in the past, but the provider aspect took over my dad's brain so bad that he took off when I was 12 and hasn't come back since, because he was obsessed with money. And I
Yeah.
the provider aspect is, I think, a weird twist in all of this, is everyone's telling men to
Yeah.
be providers, but what do they do? Like, at what cost?
At what cost? Kids are expensive, first of all. Living is expensive. And that's a lot of pressure to put on one sole person. Like we can barely function as, you know, two two people making money and taking care of their kids. They have to end up hiring someone
Well,
to help take care of their kids. They don't have to, but
I mean, there's an argument to be
sometimes
made
they use
there
family, sometimes it's
that
it
in some households, this wouldn't be the case for mine, but in some households, the cost of care is so
yes,
e-
it's
extreme
it's another mortgage. It's another mortgage.
that it's not worth the other person still having a job. And that creates a lot of issues in relationships as well, is the we can't
That's a problem
afford,
too.
like, your check isn't high enough that it's worth you, so you're just gonna stay home. And that could go both ways, right? In
Yeah.
my scenario, I don't think that would be the case, but it
Or
could be possible that it wouldn't be worth it in the end, right? For one of us.
yeah.
And it's really just debatable because not everyone has a village. And that's the difference with these old ways of thinking, right? We in the response thing that I can't find that I was talking about, he said I was literally just saying we
Oh.
should go back to a better time like the 50s and 60s.
Oh no. No, 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 no. That can't be real. That can't be
I've
real.
seen it multiple
No, no, no,
times.
no, no, no. No,
I
no,
don't
no, no,
like I
no.
said,
That cannot be real. No, it's not real. I refuse to believe
it,
I refuse to believe anybody has said that.
I mean a lot of people believe that. That's literally the concept of Handmaid's Tale.
But to say it out loud.
People say it out loud every damn day right now, which is why a lot of people
Ah.
comment, "What in the Handmaid's Tale is going on?" Because we are following
What in that?
the exact path down to Gilead existing. You need a
Mm-hmm.
government coup at this point, and Gilead would exist.
Exactly. You know, I think is it South Korea women who are going on basically they just all stopped having children? Is it South
I
Korea?
don't know. I
Can't
haven't heard
remember.
that one, but
There's a country that is literally m- they're they're gonna be in trouble like financially and a lot of other things if they don't continue to have kids
I mean that's
because
us right now. If you look at what people are
there's like
saying,
gaps.
um,
Exactly.
I,
But the women still refuse even with government saying, "Hey, we'll cut you a check if you have a kid."
yeah, and our government's not doing that. So look at
No, no.
they're not
No,
giving
they're
us
not.
any help, but they want us to keep having kids. And that's kind of again
No, that's where it goes Handmaid's Tale.
going back to the wrong time, wrong place aspect of Butker's speech. You were at a college commencement. You can hold those
Yeah.
values all you want. Cuz to some extent, I don't disagree. I'm not going to force anyone to be a homemaker, but if they want to, they should be able to. Right? I was listening to Mind Pump the other not this was probably a couple weeks ago at this point, but they were talking about how one of their wives thought that she was going to go back to work after their kid. And the first day she had to go back, their kid was sick and she's just like I can't do this. Luckily, they were in a situation
Mhm.
that she could easily leave and it didn't matter. But she thought she was going to be the
Right.
powerhouse corporate, like I can't be a stay-at-home mom. And the reality is after actually having a kid, she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. Exactly.
I specifically because I grew up with shift parents, one work day shift, one work night shift.
Yep.
I always had someone home with me. I personally know that if we had kids, I couldn't do what I do now and have a kid
Mhm.
because of how demanding it is.
Yes.
I would be
Agreed.
on a different planet as a parent if I tried to do that. And I don't have a village to help me
Yeah,
either.
and I
So,
no. Exactly.
and I know somewhere in
It's
Butker's speech,
too
he
much to
talks
think
about
about.
how, like, cost of living shouldn't be a concern for not filling your vocation. And I'm just like, what? How is that not a piece of
Wait.
this?
What?
Yeah. Just like, what?
Cuz when we think about like the saturated markets of people graduating, even you like to say engineers now is a
It's
saturated
getting
market.
there. Well,
It's
it's
getting there.
because there's not right? We've talked about funding and things like that. There aren't people funneling money into engineering projects right
Yeah.
now because money's tight. Therefore, jobs with no
Just
funding go away.
but all around in every industry that is happening. So what I'm saying is that there's not enough jobs, not enough pay, and we're all fucked.
I mean, yeah, we're all fucked, but with engineers specifically, we need more middle ground people than we need. Hiring more new hires is not going to solve our problems.
No, but it looks good statistically.
Not if you
And it's
run them
cheaper
all out
labor.
before they're middle engineers, which is what's happening. The reason we can't find any worth
Yeah,
shit middle engineers is because corporate America is running them all out.
facts. Is it just like an endless cycle? I think it's just an endless cycle.
I mean, I literally follow a TikToker who's now just like a fitness influencer who was an aerospace engineer and said, "Fuck it, I'm quitting to become a TikToker." Like this
Mm-hmm.
is real life, dude.
It's kind of scary, to be honest. Uh,
Then so when it comes to like sure, if you want to be a homemaker, be a fucking homemaker. I would love to not have to work in corporate America. To be able to do what I want to do without worry that my bills will not be paid.
I'd be good at it. I know, cause I try hard. I am a try hard.
It's hard to try hard at the thing you actually want to do when the thing you don't want to do takes up all of your time and energy.
Oh yeah, that's why you'd have to quit.
So, uh, again, going back to the speech of offensiveness, uh, why? Why at a commencement speech would you tell everyone that their future career accolades aren't going to mean anything? Because without future engineers, future, I mean, I know this was like a liberal arts school, but like, point being is without the future of the kids graduating through schools now, none of our future shit would exist. So demotivating them before they even walk out that door, like, yes, I understand the audience was that very strict conservative view. And good for them. If that is truly how it feels, like, if that is truly how you feel, go forth and conquer, find your man, do what you need to do.
Good for you. To each their own.
Um, but again, it just feels so wrong time, wrong place.
Hmm. We're in 2024 right now, and to have that speech with all of the points that he said, it's kind of wild.
It's not that wild though.
I mean, no, because there's been so many wild things that we're so accustomed to the insaneness now.
I
But I don't want to
think
be. I hate it.
I mean, yes, in the context of this speech, it was a religious school. He can talk about his religious politics all he wants. But even the freaking like sponsors of the school have come out and say, we don't support that. We want to support an inclusive environment. And, or at least I've seen something that they came out and
Good.
said that. Again, I didn't fact check it. So
Hopefully.
if that is true, even the school is coming out against him now, which means someone didn't do their job because commencement speeches are usually reviewed and approved, usually. Um, but also to the same point, no one. Again, I haven't gone through the entire transcript like you have, but from what I understand, there was no a lot of people's arguments has been, well, they're not telling men to actually be decent human beings. Going to the bear versus man argument, these two things following each other
Uh,
was just interesting. And it wasn't bear versus man, is
yeah,
would you
right?
rather, but that's not the point.
Would you rather? Yeah. Okay. So when he started talking about the men in the room, he was basically saying there was an attack on
There
masculinity. We
is.
don't have
I
enough
can't disagree with
um
that.
mas I can't either, but the thing that we do is we're instilling toxic masculinity in children and not the traditional what masculinity is truly
I
is.
don't know that, like, yes, are there toxic men? Absolutely. There are toxic men out there.
Always.
But in fitness culture, it's usually because of drugs. Anyways, that doesn't mean, right? I wouldn't consider my husband toxic masculine, but he grew up in a very get your shit together, you will be supporting whatever. um he grew up in Puerto Rico. It was not a nice environment at all. He didn't have the
Mhm.
chance
Mhm.
to be a kid and to be innocent to the world. And
Right.
that has shaped a lot of who he is as a man. Now, I wouldn't call him, he doesn't call himself an alpha male. He calls himself a sigma male, which is an interesting world that we've dived in together because I didn't know that was really a definition until he kind of explained it all to me.
I I don't I don't know what that means. I'm not into that. I'm not in that universe right now, so I
I
don't
didn't know what
know.
it was either until he explained it to me. And he has to explain it to me literally every time he says it because it doesn't click in my head that that's a thing.
Okay.
But he doesn't consider, I don't consider him an alpha either, because if he
Mm-mm.
was, we wouldn't work at all.
No. He would feel insecure because he wasn't making the money, he wasn't providing. But here's the thing. So I think eh, the alpha male is the toxic masculinity,
I disagree.
right?
I think you can be like, I personally consider my uncle um an alpha.
Oh, that one.
No, not that one.
Ew, yeah.
No. My mom's
Oh.
older sister, her husband. He has
Oh,
always
okay.
been, again, this goes to some positive things church culture can bring into the world. He has always, no
Mm.
matter what he's had to do, because they've been thrown through the ringer with a handicapped child, with medical bills out the ass, and everything
Mhm.
else. um Having 6 kids, adopting their niece, they've been put through the ringer throughout life,
Mhm.
and he has always done what he needed to do to be the provider to his family and made sure that everything was good for those kids. But he is also a very
Yes.
present dad. Those kids adore
That's
him.
so that is a proper, I think, alpha
That's what I was
male.
saying.
That is the masculinity that is appreciated, that we enjoy and that we want to celebrate. It's the
The
other
alpha
people,
chads.
the alpha chads. Is that what they're calling now?
Yes.
It's the alpha chads. It's the alpha chads that are not the true alphas, but they say they're alphas.
And I would have to talk with my husband. I'm not going to speak for him, but he might even consider that particular uncle a sigma, and that makes more sense. Because I think that's where we're losing. Because, like, mm, beta males annoy the shit out of me, truthfully speaking. Um, from my perspective, right?
Is it because they're not is it because they're not necessarily full
No.
masculine? Is it just
I
because they have
That's why
feminine,
I said,
what, so
from
then
my
what is
perspective, as
beta?
friends, I don't
What is
really care. Let's go have a party.
what is a
A
beta
beta
male?
male for me,
What is a beta?
just like, if I, obviously I'm married, it doesn't
What
matter.
is
But if I were like back in the dating pool looking at men, right? If we're gonna talk about like
Yeah.
what's attractive and blah blah blah, um, beta
Mhm.
males do not challenge me in any way, shape, or form. I walk, because I am a rather alpha female
Mhm.
in most parts of my life, right? The reason my husband and I work
Yeah.
is because he knows I can be alpha in some places, but he will fact check the shit out of me if I'm being a jackass.
Well, that's good. You do the same thing for him
I
though.
do,
It's a checks and balances.
but
He probably does it way more to you,
if
but it's
I,
fine.
and I have been with a beta, they let me run the ship. And I will
Ugh,
openly admit I
I
do
don't want to.
stupid shit.
I don't want to run the ship
Not that
anymore. I don't want to run the ship anymore.
it's not even that, like, when I am allowed to run the ship, I am a jackass. Let's be real. I when it comes to relationships, right? I will make everything my way and there is no such thing as compromise. And that's why betas for me annoy the shit out of me because they don't challenge me in any way shape or form. Whereas like my husband,
No.
I prior to having the conversation about him being a sigma, I don't know, I have to deep dive that a little bit more to see if he's actually using it correctly to be fair. But like prior to
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
we had like a really interesting balance between like I am alpha outside of our relationship because I am me and we work in a male dominated space, and if I wasn't, I
We
couldn't do my job.
You wouldn't be where no. No. No.
If
Exactly.
I was the meek and mild beta female that like just bowed down to everybody, I literally couldn't do my job. um
Maybe you'd actually be further along if you were.
I don't really care. Like again, like I said, the job doesn't fulfill me in
Okay.
any way shape or form. I like
Mm-mm.
the challenge of learning new things.
True. And that is
It's a
always
paycheck. To me, it always has been.
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
minute I stopped trying to make it fulfill me like everyone wanted it to is the minute I kind of created things that were better for me in outside of my work life.
Yeah.
Right? If your job doesn't
Yeah.
fulfill you, because like my husband is one of those people that his job is the most fulfilling thing in his life. And I love that for him. I don't understand it, but I love that for him. My mom's the same way. She loves everything and anything
Yeah.
about her. Like, even the most frustrating times, she has not given up on that job. She usually just finds a new one. But, like, she loves the concept of the job, no matter where she's doing it.
Okay, so I've got a question for your mom. If you can ask her if she knows anything about the butt liquor incident. You should ask her what fulfilled her
She'd say her
in her
job.
life. What has fulfilled her?
I know my
Exactly.
mother. Like, I
Exactly.
don't even have to ask her that
But just
question. Like, she
I know, but
loves
like just it's
and like I don't say this to like offend my mom or anything like that. Like she was
mm,
she had her moments. Every parent does, but like
oh yeah.
I'm not no contact with my mom. Let's like
Mm.
she didn't fuck me up that bad, right? Um,
No, you're in a good standing.
but my dad tried to get her to do the stay at home thing multiple times. The best she could
She
give
didn't want
that
to.
was per diem, so that she didn't have to work a certain amount of hours a week. She only had to do like because she went through all the trouble to get all of her licenses and stuff like that. And I think when I was
Mhm.
really little, she didn't like I mean, she had me 19 almost 20 because we're only a week apart, right? So she wasn't even an RN yet. She was just a CNA. So she had to go through all of her schooling while I was still really little. So I think that was the time frame that like she was just kind of bringing in bare minimum if she was working at all. She was doing enough to keep her licenses and that was it.
Mhm.
But as I got older and I was in school, she was working as an RN and that's the majority of what I remember as her working as an RN. Um
Right.
but I could give you a specific job that has been the most fulfilling to her because it was her dream. She enjoys working in peds the most, but when she started working in rescue and she was a flight nurse, that was her holy grail, really. She would still be
Mhm.
there if some bullshit didn't happen.
Right.
So I know for a fact my mom is her job, but also to that point, she had always said, I have one kid. She's here till 18, and I wasn't even there till 18. Because my parents were the parents that, like, they weren't gonna kick me out at 18, but I had to have a plan.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, I had to have a plan. Whether I was working, whether I was going to the military, or whether I was going to school, I had to have some sort of plan.
Exactly.
And if I didn't, they would have kicked me out, right? I was still, even though I was an adult at 18, if I didn't live by what they wanted me to live by, then I would have been on my own. And I chose to not
Mhm.
be on my own because I'm lazy. Let's be real. It was my choice. I think some of the rules that my parents had for me growing up were very much so built in the purity culture and things like that they grew up in. For sure.
Yeah. Always.
But my mom would absolutely say her job. And truthfully, my dad would still say his job. Like, my dad, bless him,
No, that one's an obvious answer.
doesn't
That's
know
an
how to
obvious
parent. Like, he's doing it to someone else's
Oh.
kids now, but like, he was always the fun kid. Like, he wasn't a parent. He was just like a big kid
No.
growing up.
Gross.
So, like, my dad wasn't, even before he left, he
Fatherly.
wasn't a parent. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't not in my life,
Mhm.
but like, he wasn't a parent either.
Right. So,
There are definitely parents that their jobs are more fulfilling than their kids. There are parents that frequently say to other people that are questioning if they want kids or not, don't fucking do it. You have to know you genuinely want to do it to enjoy it.
exactly. That's where I'm on the fence still. I'm like, mm, mm. Yeah,
It's not that I'm on the fence, it's on the I don't care. If that makes
fair.
sense.
Like if it happens, it happens. I understand that, but like also I do care because I want to be financially
Well, that's the
there.
thing is like
There's
right
no
now I
way.
actively care because things aren't in place that I would be, but like say in a year
Right, but long term you don't
I
care.
hit
Long term you don't care. I feel that. I
because I
feel
mean
that.
I'll be by next year my husband will be 30 and I will almost be 30. So like it's kind of a
Mhm.
now or never situation going into next year. I mean 35 is considered geriatric, so medically speaking.
Medically speaking, yeah. But I mean, you're still I think you still have
Yes
5
and
years.
no, because I've also been on some form of birth control since I was 20. So 8, 9 years. It's
Okay.
gonna take a
Mhm.
hot minute to come off of all of that. A lot of people have said their hormones didn't regulate coming off of any form of hormonal birth control until like 2 years later.
Interesting.
That's a whole different conversation entirely, but
Yeah.
you've got to think, right? Yes, there are people that have kids later on in life, but at the same time, the later you have them, the later you have them in your home. Do you want
Facts.
to be at
And
a
you're never gonna retire. Basically.
that too? Do you want to be at a high school graduation
Yeah.
after you've retired from your career? Like, honestly,
Hopefully
my
retired.
husband is the type
Hopefully
that,
retired. We're never gonna retire.
I mean, if I'm running my own thing, I don't have a reason to retire, right? It's just I'm sitting pretty as a CEO and it runs itself.
Exactly.
And at a certain point, if I build what I really want to build, right, where it is running itself, I will have everything I ever needed. I'm basically retired at that point. I'm
Correct.
working because I enjoy it.
But I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying in general. In
No,
general,
no, I
people who
know.
don't have that, they're
Yeah,
never gonna retire.
the later in life you have kids, the more stress it puts you on the later end.
And like physically too, like
Yeah.
you're not as strong.
There's an
So like
argument.
can you really keep up with them?
So I've seen a lot of like studies and conversations and stuff surrounding this as well. Similar because of like, graduating college and working a few years in your career and things like that. There's kind of a sweet
Mhm.
spot from what I've seen, just like conjecture. Obviously, there's not real studies on this, but like from parents and things, like early
Mhm.
30s is kind of like late 20s, early 30s is kind of that sweet spot for people because you're financially set up, but
So you're
like,
about to enter it
yeah, if that's
or you
our
have already
decision,
entered
right?
it.
My husband is
Right.
building a business. I'm building a business. So, like, for us specifically, if shit happens the way we want it to in the next year, then going into next summer, we're set up to do whatever the fuck we want.
Mhm.
But that's reliant on the universe working for us rather than against us. And right now it seems to be working against us just a little bit.
I think it's working against everybody right now who's not like a multi-millionaire billionaire.
Well, I mean, going back to more TikTok adventures, there's like the celebrity blockout lists from the Met Gala and shit like that. So some of those people, at least on the influencer side, it seems like influencer culture, the ones that spend ridiculous amounts of
Mhm.
money and are completely out of touch with life, um, it seems to be dying. So,
That's good.
but I don't know. I have a lot of opinions on that speech, and some of them aren't the most well recepted ones because I don't, truthfully speaking, for the majority, I don't think in a world where that was possible, which we are not in, I don't think what he said is wrong. A lot of women do want to just be homemakers. That's not unrealistic. A lot of people do just want to be and can be extremely fulfilled in being a spouse and being a parent. Wrong time, wrong place
Mhm.
saying it at a commencement speech, but I don't think it's wrong. Because it is true. A lot of women do want that for themselves. We may not be the women that want that for themselves, but that doesn't mean that a lot of people don't. So,
I'm just thinking like the right time, right place would be at your church when they ask you to stand up and do a little talk to the, what do they call it? The
I think for Catholics, it's congregation. I don't, no, don't quote me on that.
congregation.
Don't quote me
Okay.
on that.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've dealt with
But
Catholic side of religion.
same, same. But still, like that would be an
Clergy?
appropriate place to talk about it. No, because I think the clergy are higher up in the chain. I don't think
I
so.
don't know. Either way, that's not important.
Anyway, anyway, it is not important. Anyway,
I mean, I definitely don't think it was the
yeah,
right spot to say something like that. Like you're
no,
allowed to have your
no,
opinions, right? And I do think
mm-hmm,
um a form of the nuclear family, right? I don't agree that it has to be. I think two men can do just as well as a man and a woman, in my opinion. This is my opinion. Or two
or two
females. I
females.
was just
Yes.
going, a lot of people freak out about men not having the womanly approach or whatever because moms. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I believe either side as long as there are two loving parents because I right, single parents are great and they do everything they can. It's not
It's
the
still going to be
same.
difficult,
So
especially financially.
and I think some kids, when it comes to the financial aspect, not considering that is silly in my opinion because saying that kids don't suffer from financial differences in social structures is absolutely wrong because they do. If their friends want
Definitely
to go to
do.
the movies and their parents can afford to go to the movies, right? Then you can't go and have that
Yeah.
fun social night with friends. Like I had friends like that growing up, and I usually picked up the bill because of it.
Yeah.
um, but that also puts a lot of social structure, like a lot of social pressure on the kids that do have a little bit more money because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to go do this fun thing with my friends, but I know my friends can't afford it because I know I was the kid that I always wanted to go do fun things with my friends, but it
Mm-hmm.
put the pressure on me to spend whatever money that I had from my parents because I did get a specific allowance or whatever, especially as I started driving. Because I had rules with my parents, I didn't have to work. Um, it put a certain amount of pressure on me to be like, hey, I'll pick it up because I wanted to go out and do this. So it's an interesting dynamic, I think, socially, and to ignore the fact that the financial
I still kind of
dynamics
do that.
exist is silly.
Yeah. I mean, I still kind of do that. Like if there's something that I really want to do and I don't want to go alone, but the other person can't financially put in the money, but I can. I'm just
Oh,
like,
I still do this all the time. I mean, I do it with like my husband too. If it's something I want to do, and he does the same thing, so it's not a one-way street. But
Yeah,
if it's
right.
something I want to go do, I pick it up. If I want to go to Top Golf, I'm gonna pick it
Yeah.
up. Or if it's something we both do, like enjoy doing, right? Then
Mhm.
we end up splitting it, whatever it ends up being. If we get food, and then we do the activity or whatever. Um, but like when I go to his races and stuff, he pays the entry fees. So
Mhm.
there's, but again, with kids saying that financial, like your kids don't recognize your financial struggles, they absolutely do.
Oh no, they do.
So
They do.
I don't know. I just struggle, and like men pushing culture forward. What culture are they pushing forward?
They're not very consistent.
Because like
They're not all on the same page, so that's why we're having a little bit of a problem.
if they're supposed to be the leaders of society, which in theory that's what people believe in, men are supposed to be the leaders of
Just
society.
because we're in the patriarchy. Patriarchy. Whee!
Okay. So that's where I struggle with some of this is men and women are different. We cannot
Yes.
do all like we are built to do things differently. Brain functions are built to do things differently between and hormones impact all of this. Biologically,
Hormones and everything. Yes.
we are different.
We are different.
Could we have the
Yes.
same job? Yes. Are we going to do it the same way? No. And in certain scenarios, how you
No.
do it is important to the end result. So,
Correct. And but sometimes having the diversity is really necessary as well.
fair enough. But that doesn't necessarily make it patriarchal just because a position is better suited for the male perspective in my
No, the patriarchal structure really comes from the religion aspect of
man should be the leader.
what right, which is where we've all literally all the governments that I can think of right now.
Yeah, but
Um,
just to kind of wrap this up, fighting for equal
oh yeah.
is different than fighting for equitable. We will never be equal in all categories
No,
because we are different.
correct.
Men and women are different. We handle everything differently. That doesn't mean a woman couldn't do the job for whatever it is. A woman could go do my husband's job. They probably won't, though. Let's be real. Could they? Yes. Would they? Unlikely. Um,
And the environment's not really great for it
Exactly. I mean, there are like scenarios,
because
right? The Navy was the last military branch to go co-ed. Why? Because a lot of the
yeah,
scenarios sailors are in make it very difficult for females to be in them. Um,
yep.
Reality. I understand why the Navy did what the Navy did. Did I think it took them way too long to change? Maybe. Cause like some things
But it could have been necessary because if again, if the men didn't change, there would be a whole lot of more like rape
I mean, that
allegations,
happens in the
things that would
military
come out,
anyways. That
right?
doesn't matter. That's just shit like that
Correct,
happens in the
correct.
world.
But they were probably like, maybe the Navy should just
It's
back
more
down.
of a not
We'll separate them.
um anyways,
Anyway,
it was more of like a safety thing than anything and like medical safety due to
I
some
know.
of the nature of what the Navy does. Anyways,
Yep.
equitable and equal are two different things. Should we be equitable? Yes. We are not equal in because equal would imply that we could do everything exactly the same. And realistically speaking, those even in like the reason sports are separated is
Mhm.
because of
Yeah.
biology. You are not going to gain the same muscle mass as a woman that you are as a man. Men are always going to be able to lift heavier in sports like
Yeah.
powerlifting.
But listen. Equitable is defined by whoever the majority party is.
Technically
So
speaking, by
we'd
population,
have to.
women are the majority party across the world. Maybe not in the
Yeah,
states, but
great, great. So we all need to band together and actually do shit. So sorry. Um,
nah, I don't
going
know
with
where you're
that
going with
in
that
my
either.
brain.
But I
I
don't know.
don't
I
know.
don't wrong time, wrong place. I don't necessarily disagree with some of, like, I do disagree violently with some of the things
A lot of
that
the
he said,
things.
but some of the things, it is what it is. It's just kind of culture as it exists in more conservative wings, and they can believe that all they want.
Mhm.
Does it work for me?
Yeah.
Some things do, some things don't.
Mm.
Because I
Yeah.
don't disagree in the traditional structure, right? If it works, but the key is it
It
doesn't work
worked.
right now.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work in this society anymore. It needs to adapt.
I think,
Everything needs to adapt to literally any changing situation, and because society has changed a lot, especially with like the technology that we're bringing in, that
I mean, technology aside,
things need to change everywhere.
personally speaking, like, I don't believe that women should be forced to stay in marriages because of DV and everything else. But I do believe that kids, again, I'm not a parent, so this can be taken with a grain of salt. I've just grown up around a lot of kids and things like that. I think kids are better off in houses where someone is home with them and they're not sent to daycares. I'm not saying daycares can't
Oh yeah.
do great jobs in helping raise those kids, and nannies and whoever else is involved in the situation. They absolutely can. And you can create great kids out of those
Yeah.
scenarios. But for the majority, I fully believe kids are better off with someone at home and being around their family
Mhm.
and their friends. And that probably comes from the fact that I was raised that way. And I'm not going to say that's not my own personal bias, but from what I've seen, the kids that were actively, like, had parents actively, even in my own family, the kids that had their parents actively involved in their lives were a lot better off than the kids that didn't, and still are, even as
Mhm.
adults.
I mean, I'm I'm a walking case of that because my mom was always active in my life. So,
And I'm not saying
she was always home.
it's a bad thing, because, like, parents obviously do have to
No.
work to pay their bills and things like that. Like, daycare is inevitable for most families, and
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't for
Just
them.
financially right now, the world.
That's what I think. I wish they could, if they wish to
If
stay
the
home, stay home.
Yeah. So if economically it was all dandelions and roses and all the happiness in the world, um, then I think, yeah, people would choose to stay home. One parent would choose to stay home, take care of the kid, and it would be great. It's the it's the economics that are fucking with
I mean,
all of us.
yes, but it's also the assumption that, I think,
You have to have
I mean,
kids.
yes, but also just the fulfillment part of that speech that bothered me. It's not that people want to be homemakers, it's that you would only be fulfilled by your true, calling it a true vocation. I think that's what bothers me. Saying that women only exist to be parents and wives, or mothers and wives.
That's
That is the
that's the
part that
fucked up
bothered
part.
me. It's not that he said that
Mhm.
people want to be. It's the true vocation part of that that was like,
It's it was the word choice. It wasn't necessarily what he was trying to say, but it was definitely the choice of words that he
but,
used
like, I don't even feel
that
like, maybe I'm
changed.
wrong. It's been a long time since I've dug my nose in a Bible, but I don't even feel like biblically that's addressed as, like, that is your true vocation kind of thing. Is it alluded to? A
I don't know.
lot. But,
I
like,
mean, yeah, but here's the thing: the Bible's gone through so many different
exactly.
translations at this
We don't
point. Is it
we don't
even
know.
real? Is it even real?
So,
The Book of Mormon is
oh
real though.
god, don't
Those
don't
those golden plates exist. Those golden plates
don't
exist.
don't no, no, thank you.
They're buried in my backyard.
Oh, your backyard specifically?
Yeah, my apartment's backyard.
But the Holy Land is Utah, which also is false. But that's a whole different story entirely. I'm not going to go into the deep diving of Mormon theology and how wrong it is. But
Not worth it. Not worth it.
yeah, I I wanted to talk about it because, as to females that are educated, degreed, working career women, I also think we have slightly varying opinions on it, because I don't if the opportunity was afforded to me, do I think it will fulfill me anymore? No. Would I do it? Yes. Um, so
I'm on the same page. I'm on the same page as you.
like, and again, I think it's the
It
wife
wouldn't be
and
the
mother.
only thing that fulfilled me. I think it would fulfill me a little bit, but not like
So I
fully.
didn't really hit on this earlier, but I think for me, if we chose to have kids, yes, that would be
Yeah,
more fulfilling than any work piece I've ever done because work is just not interesting to me. Um,
that's what you mean. Okay.
I think in that case, but being a well, like as a wife currently, that didn't change. It's not who I married. It's not the aspect of being his wife because I am his partner. It's not a hierarchy between the two of us, right?
No, it's you're on the same level.
So I think what comes to that component, there was no extra fulfillment out of becoming a wife. Am I proud to be in a partnership with him? Yes, but there's no extra fulfillment. However, with kids, I already kind of get the feel just because I know how it feels when a client really gets it. I can see how parents like find a lot of joy and fulfillment out of watching their kids grow. And but again, you have to actually
Yeah.
genuinely want to be a parent for that to be fulfilling for you.
Mhm.
And that's
And not have to have any selfish reasons of being a parent other than you just want the child because you want to love something that is other than yourself.
yeah, but I also think a lot of parents think they want to be parents because of religious structure, and that's a whole different
That,
idealization of being a parent.
yeah, I know.
Is they're told their whole life that that's the best thing that they've ever existed, and when that doesn't happen, some because for some people it actively doesn't. um when that doesn't happen, then things start to happen with the kid and a resentment, and then you get crazy wackos like Ruby Frankie who abused the shit out of her kids. So
I,
I always find that funny
yeah.
that a lot of the child abusers tend to be crazy wacko religions, but that's conjecture on my part. That's just
I want to see the stats. That would be very interesting. The true crime stats
on child
on
abuse
that.
and religion connection. I think it's pretty high, honestly.
I know, cause like every time I hear, like, I listen to my murder podcasts, my true crime podcasts. And there, it's always like when it is a family matter where the father or the mother kills the children or just does terrible things. Um, it's always because of religious trauma.
Well, okay, there's the link between parents believing that their child is participating in witchcraft and or promoting demonism, which is really true. That was
What
actually really true in the Ruby Frankie case. She thought her kids were demons. Um
the fuck?
yeah. No, that is actually pretty true. A lot of like devout religion people that start
But
abusing
that's
their
a
kids believe that their kids are participating in witchcraft um or like demons.
that is wild to me.
Is it really though?
I don't. I just like I couldn't. I'm not brainwashed like them. So like,
Religious organizations are responsible for 30% of all child sexual abuse losses.
whoa, whoa.
Oh wait, no, hold on. That was some other statistic. Hold on. A study of religion-related child abuse found that 66% of cases involve physical abuse, 50% include sexual abuse, and one-third of cases reported child neglect. 43% of cases were perpetuated by fundamentalist Christians, 38 Protestant, and 16% Catholic. So fundies are
But that's
responsible
but that
for 43% of all child abuse cases.
all right. Not surprised. But that is just of all
Of
child
all
abuse
child abuse,
cases. I'm talking
religious
this
based child abuse cases.
correct.
Uh,
But I want to know that percentage over
I'm
the whole
trying to find
population of
it,
the
but
religion.
that I mean, fundies being responsible for over half of the ones that did involve religion as a statement of abuse doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oof.
Religion has been linked to a contributing factor to domestic violence. Justification of the abuse using religion is what separates religious abuse from other types of abusive behavior. Um, I would still love to know. Let's just go more direct.
I'm making you late to your
I
stream, by the
know,
way.
but I'm actually curious on this one. For religious reasons. Items 31% of cases in all religion are, or in all child abuse cases, are on religious grounds.
Okay. So about a third. Like,
That, yeah, I'm finding about 31%.
okay. Almost a third. Okay. Okay. That's kind
But
of a
of
lot.
that
Big
third,
chunk.
50% of them are uh the other another 39% is elementary schools. So, there's that. But of that third, 50% of them are fundy religions, which include the Mormon Church.
When you say fundy, is that fundamental?
Fundamentalist
Is
Christians.
that what you're okay?
So Baptists are
Okay.
typically considered like fundamentalists. Mormons are definitely considered fundies. I'm trying to think what other religion extremists. IBLP type people. Um, Duggar world kind of people. Um, are considered fundamentalists. And
I thought they were
the
Mormon.
Duggars? No.
Yeah, I thought they were Mormon
Nope.
fundamental. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
yes, there are Mormon fundamentalists, which is but like the Mormon, the
Right.
LDS, the
That's a whole separate.
regular LDS church is considered fundamentalist Christians. Um,
So is the fundamentalist Mormons, are they just like
those are the ones that believe in
fundies
polygamy,
squared?
something like that. Yeah, sure. They're
Yeah,
still
I know. Are they
fundies either
fundies
way.
squared?
Uh,
Okay, yeah. All right, let's just check it.
Jehovah's Witnesses, I think, are considered fundies too. I think there's
Mm-hmm.
certain sects of Catholicism that are also considered fundies. Um, but usually the two that get talked about the most when
Fair.
it comes to fundamental, or the three, or the IBLP nut jobs, um, Baptists and Mormons. Usually the most talked about fundies. But really, it's just like
Fun.
extreme, like truly believing in the Bible, ways of life, traditionalism type. Because right, there's sects of Christianity that like are very inclusive and very welcoming of the LGBTQ and things like that. The fundamentalists definitely aren't. So, but
Mm.
that's that statistic. 31% of all child abuse cases are religious based, which, given that religion is all supposed to be about loving children and going forth and being fruitful, that is a lot of child abuse cases.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I
Depressing.
don't want to know how many child abuse cases there are yearly, truthfully, to know what 30% of that is. Because that sounds not fun to look
No.
up.
No.
But again, that
No, it
could
does not.
also touch back to the speech, right? Forcing people into being homemakers and being child rearers creates a lot of child abuse. I'm not saying he's
Or
advocating
the
to force
pressure
people, but
creates a lot of no, but creating that pressure is not conducive to the environment.
I think talking about the speech really just dovetailed into talking about religious pressure on people as a whole. But
Correct.
women specifically, because as two women that also work careers, the idea of kids can also just be a lot of people we work with don't have kids, and they're much later in life type. A lot of the females, at least that I've worked with, like I had an old boss that but literally was my boss and just got married and had her first kid like 6 months ago. So
Right. Yeah.
it's definitely
They
older
just
in
wait.
our world. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, we had that one boss that used to ask how many of us in the early career area were married and was shocked every time that a lot of us were. And you gotta think, early career is usually people from like 23, 24 to 30. Anywhere, somewhere in there. Depending on what they
Yeah.
did, right? You could get older
Average.
people from like coming out of the military and then starting new. And
Yeah.
you've got, that's why I went up to 30. Um, but yeah, I think it was an interesting conversation worth having just because there are so many differing opinions on this speech going around on TikTok
Oh
right
yeah.
now. And I've somehow ended up on the agreeer side of TikTok,
No.
which is interesting.
No.
I don't know how that happened, but I have. I don't think it's just because my brain is twisted. My opinions are twisted. I do agree with some right wing things, and I do agree with some left wing things, and I'm somewhere in the
Your
middle on this
algo is
topic.
confused. It's like I don't know which one she is.
I would rather my algo not feed me political anything. That's what I
That'd
would
be nice.
like. I would like it to not be either side of the
That'd be
fence.
nice.
But
No.
no, I also get all of this Operation Watermelon and Olive Branch bullshit that I just want to go away. Because I don't care. But it's
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
not my place. Oh, it's all the like celebrity block lists and shit like that. People are getting mad that celebrities and big influencers aren't speaking out about the war shit and using their platform to do good and help people get out of Gaza and things like that. So they're being social justice warriors and saying, we're going to go block everybody on this block list of celebrities, anyone who went to the Met Gala, because the Met Gala is $75,000 a ticket. And in my opinion, this is people just getting on their high horse because people are choosing not to ruffle some feathers in their career. They're choosing not to speak because no matter what you say, similar to the beginning of this podcast when I was talking about content having to be polarizing, no matter what you say, it's going to offend some population of your following. So celebrities and some of the bigger influencers are actively choosing not to say anything. They're not saying one thing one way or the other. And after the Met Gala, where people found out that Met Gala tickets are $75,000 a piece, and they don't really go anywhere from a funding perspective when it comes to donations and things, like the Met Gala is just a big show for everybody. People got pissed off at celebrities, and they created the block list. And now they're telling everyone to go out on all of their social media and digital platforms and block all of these celebrities to give them a financial kick to the pocket,
That's not
basically,
gonna do much.
because they're not getting AdSense from people viewing them and blah blah blah.
That's not gonna do much.
But the reality is, even if every celebrity on the fucking planet called for a ceasefire, that doesn't do anything.
No, it doesn't.
The governments on any side have to do that. So I don't know why anyone going after celebrities matters and why influencers who have no education on this should speak out about
Yeah,
it.
no. I mean, that's yeah. I I think if you're not influencing on that topic, you don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, if you're not if you're not a political content creator, why does
You
it
don't
matter?
need to talk
Like
about
they
it.
are literally going out and they're attacking do you know Jen
No.
Hamilton? The like nurse that talks about labor and delivery?
Yes.
Yeah, they went after her
Why?
to try and get her to speak about it. They went after Elise Myers and completely got her off TikTok,
No
basically.
way.
She was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to speak about it. It's not my content to talk about this kind of stuff.
Right.
So she just moved to YouTube full time. She went away from TikTok because people were being jackasses about it.
Okay.
They kept like bombarding her
Damn.
comments to speak about
That's
it, and
fucked up.
she's just said, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Now they've got hairdressers involved. Like Teresa Van Dam had to come out and say something. I think some of the other hairdressers in that kind of American Beauty School kind of circle are now involved in it too. And they're all sharing content about families that they're donating to get them out of Gaza and blah blah. Like, good for them, but they shouldn't have to share it as content.
No.
Like, if they want to participate, it good
They
for
can do it
you.
privately and they don't have to get uh, the bragging points or the clout
Chris
or
Olsen's
any
another
of
one
that.
they went after.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're attacking people online, which makes me glad that I don't have a huge following right now, because I mean, when you work in corporate America, it doesn't matter who you work for. If you say things publicly that start a riot, they're probably going to fire
Yeah.
you. If you know are known to say something, whatever it is, you're generally just not supposed to speak about it when you work for a corporate company.
Correct.
Um, they don't want you involved in it. So, but
So
yeah, that's a lot of mine is
it's not
like,
my place, it's not my background. I don't have
I don't
trust in the
know enough about
politicians
it.
that are taking care of the situation. I have like zero trust in them, but all I can do is what I can
But
do. I'm not going to go
getting a
talk about it though.
getting a bunch of celebrities to speak out about it
No,
doesn't do
no, it doesn't.
anything, because if anything, you just force them into it to save their pockets, and they don't genuinely mean anything. Because like Lizzo is one of the ones that kind of pressured into saying something
Mm.
publicly. I don't know what she was doing behind the scenes. She could have been doing great things behind the scenes, but again, that's behind the scenes. Celebrities don't owe you anything, and neither do
Mhm.
influencers. They don't owe you descriptions of what they do with their money behind the scenes. And that's kind of where I sat on all of that, and I don't want to see any of it. Someone came out and was like, I haven't blocked a single celebrity, but I've blocked almost 500 people who are doing this stupid shit.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're trying to make change. It's like people protesting on college campuses because their campus funds something. Okay, what does that do? Nothing. The governments are still going to send them shit. It doesn't do anything if your college stops providing funds.
Just go to a different.
Go after the right
I
people.
don't know.
Like, celebrities talking about it is going to do jack shit.
No, you have to go after the congressman and your
And if you don't have enough,
representatives. Why are you going
but my
after them?
opinion is if you don't have enough balls to go after those people, shut the fuck up. Like, you're just claiming to be a social justice warrior on the internet to look
But
good.
what impact are you really having?
And like, I've also seen a lot of people actively attacking people that live in Israel too. Like, they're just citizens of a country. It's not like they made those decisions.
No, again, it's the politicians, it's the people in charge you should get mad at, not the
If they love their
bystanders.
country because it's the country they grew up in, like, let them love their country because it's the country they grew up in. Like, let them be them. Like,
Exactly.
this country is a fucking mess, but I don't talk about it all the time on the
I mean,
internet.
we do, but we do.
I mean, we talk about corporate America, and I mean, the Purge episode, I did talk about the government, but that was really the first episode that I actively said, fuck these a-holes. But like, I don't make that my entire platform because I wasn't a political science major. I don't deal with all of this shit. So I'm not, if that's not my platform,
You don't have to
I'm
speak on it.
not going to talk about it as an influencer.
Exactly. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Like, that's the thing, is you don't want a bunch of people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And let's say, right, one of the people they're pressuring is Taylor Swift. Let's say she comes out and says, like, is the opposite of what the majority believes about this situation. Then she literally nukes her career for speaking her honest
But
truth.
listen, she was having trouble with this in one of the elections where all of her followers wanted her to say who she's going to vote
To
for.
provide support. They don't owe anything.
She
Like,
didn't want
Taylor
to.
can come off of, like, she never has. Like, there are, like, she's attended a few galas to show support of things and things like that, and donated behind the
Right.
scenes to things that she supported, but she has never been like a publicly, I'm going to talk about what I believe in type of person.
Yeah.
And like everyone wants her to respond to the Butker speech, and I'm like, she's not going to.
No.
Let's be real.
No, she will
She's
in a
not gonna
song
say two
though.
shits about
She
it.
will in a song though. We know it.
She
She will.
might. I don't
That's
know.
that's
I
that's
don't.
her superpower.
Most of the Chiefs have come out and say we don't talk to him on off. Like he's not. He's just the
We don't
kicker. He's an idiot.
associate with him. He just
No, Patrick Mahomes literally in an interview, I think prior to this even, had said that he doesn't talk to Butker on off season. Like he only talks to him as part of playing the
when you have
game.
to, yeah. When you're
Yeah.
required to be a team.
And Travis Kelsey is just, I think, ignoring it all and just fangirling over Taylor.
Always.
So,
I mean, who is it?
so I again, this all kind of wraps up. Celebrities shouldn't be speaking on things that they don't
I
understand,
think they
and
can if they want to, but the fact that if they do, they need to know the responsibility
I
of.
don't think they should be forced
No, they shouldn't
to.
be forced to, but also they just need to be aware of the responsibility of what they do talk about because it does still have an
Absolutely, but
impact. But
everything has
yes,
consequences too, though.
yes.
So if they maybe are someone, right? Again, he's relatively prominent. Ethan Klein talked a lot about the issues
Mhm.
and got a lot of hate for
Yeah.
it, for being like, everyone knows he's Jewish and he was kind of skirting the line between the arguments, and everyone was like, you're like, it's just people taking up, everything has to be one or the other, everything's black and white,
No, it's
everything has to be
not.
polarizing,
No.
and it doesn't have to be.
It's a
You can
complicated
choose not to
situation.
say anything
Yeah.
to not destroy your career,
Or just
which is what I assume a lot of the celebrities are doing.
yeah. No.
Because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, and I think it's just listen, if you do not if you have the privilege to not be able to talk about things that are not happening directly to you, you don't have to talk about
That's not even a privilege. I just think,
it. It can't I'm just saying
even
in
if
this
you are a
wartime,
celebrity,
that's kind of a privilege to not have to talk about what's going on in your backyard because it's not actually happening in your backyard.
well, okay, but even if you like, you are a person of prominent
Okay.
influence, celebrities, influence, whatever, you don't owe anybody anything.
No,
You
never.
still are a human being.
Yeah.
You still have your own life. So if you choose not to talk on a topic because it's
Mhm.
polarizing and you don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other, or it's just not, because people are allowed to not be interested in things. Like, I understand what's going on over there, but to me, that's just war. That's just a part of existing on this planet. Leaders will get feisty about something and start a war for no reason.
And people will
Shit
die.
happens.
And people will die and it's unfair and it sucks.
And like, I'm sure if this gets any visibility, people are gonna be like, losing their shit over me saying that. But like, it just fucking happens.
It does happen. Not to say we are I mean we are desensitized by it, definitely. But it's not like that we don't care. We care that it's
In my
happening.
opinion, there's too
There's
much.
too much to care
I
about. Like how many
Yeah,
spoons
it was
am I
like,
going to give each thing that I care about?
I
A limited spoons.
I yeah, I think that's the best way. I don't have the mental energy to spend on caring about the world's problems when there's so much shit literally going on in my backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have the mental energy. Like, I'm sorry, there's literally nothing as me as a person not in any form of political power that can do about that. No amount of blocking people on social media or being an asshole in people's comments is gonna do anything.
Mm-mm.
So I will fight the battles that I can fight.
Yeah. And usually you have to fight your your own personal battles before you can fight anybody else's.
I mean, personal battles, but also like fight stuff here at home. So many people here in the US are so worried about what's going on over there, and they have no fight for anything going on here. We can change shit going on here. There's literally nothing we can do about what's going on over there.
We got focus. We got focus. Everybody just focus on one thing.
And realistically speaking, we can't even fix our involvement in what's going on over there.
No.
That is a government only problem, and there is probably so much intertwined in that we don't even understand as regular people.
Yes.
But we can fix shit like who we put up to be our fucking leaders. And we still keep fucking that up. So I have very little hate on me all you want for this, but I have very little respect for the people that are being social justice warriors on TikTok and Instagram or whatever, just going out and putting comments on everybody's fucking shit for what? What is that doing? What is forcing celebrities to talk doing? What is I mean, even with the Butker situation, like I wanted to talk about it, but I'm not going to consistently post like one episode and we're done.
Right.
Like,
right.
It was worth talking about, but it's not going to change anything about how I go about my day. No. I'm not going to go start like posting to the one song that everybody's doing, showing about how my career is more fulfilling, because it's not. I can guarantee you, if I had kids, having kids would be more fulfilling than fucking getting a promotion at work, because all getting a promotion at work means is I kissed somebody's ass hard enough that they enjoyed my content. Like,
they enjoyed my ass kissing.
Let's be real. That's all getting a promotion in corporate America means, is I ass kissed my way to the top. And I honestly am not willing to do that. So I might be stuck with no more future promotions because I have no desire to kiss people's asses for shit that I shouldn't have to. And hate on me all you want. I just don't have respect for those kind of. There's so many other things we could be doing. People complain about time. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to do my hobbies. I don't have time to enjoy my relationship. Stop being chronically online and maybe you would.
Oh, shit.
I'm sorry, but it's fucking real. Like, the fact that all of my FYP is this fucking Butker situation, it's just like, can I have fun stuff back? Like, social media used to be fun. MySpace, the only drama MySpace caused is when you fucking moved someone from your top 8. You knew people were fighting when that happened. Like,
no.
I don't know. I miss when social media was fun, and that's where I'm at right now.
It goes through phases. It goes through phases. I think just right now the world's not fun, so neither is social media. Nothing's fun anymore. And we're all.
But the world's not fun because everything makes everything so damn polarizing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
People are allowed to have
we're
opinions.
Self-destructing. It's just we are the dinosaurs, and social media is our meteors.
Possible, but you could also use it for good, and people don't.
I know.
Or at least they don't use it for any good here. They want to go solve the world's problems.
You have to actually go out and act and not just be on social media doing it. You gotta actually
I mean, social media is a powerful tool and all of that, and I won't deny that.
Sure.
Like, it's an absolutely powerful, especially platforms like TikTok.
But it's not the end all be all.
Again, if we were actually focused on fixing shit in America, we wouldn't be in this situation where Dementia 1 and Dementia 2 are our only options going into November.
I love that. That's the first time I've heard that. And it's hilarious.
Because they're both senile as shit.
Yes. In their own special ways.
Trump's literally shitting himself in court, and fucking hell, man.
Wait.
Like, why is this our only option?
Not literally. Did he?
No, literally.
He literally shot himself?
Look it up.
Oh my god!
And on that note, I think I'm going to close us out because I will go down too many rabbit holes at this point. Because I love social media and I love being a content creator, but god fucking damn, if I have to listen to one more person tell me who I should block on the internet, I am going to fucking lose it. And I don't even follow celebrities, so let's.
All right.
Anyways, that is all for this week. All of our chaos gremlins and brotatoes. If you are looking for any health and fitness help, you can go and find me at It's Coach Casey on just about everything. But if you enjoyed this content and want to hear more of our insane ramblings about life in corporate America and future guests and how our journey to becoming corporate dropouts continues,
Let's go.
please go out and like and follow and
And
subscribe because
stalk
we have too
us.
many
Just kidding, don't
platforms.
stalk us.
Please don't stalk us, that would be weird. But go out and leave us a review and follow all the things and do all the social media things, even though I was just ranting about how I hate social media. Do all of
Do
those
all those
things
things.
because that's part of to
That's
help
how we
me
grow.
along the way of becoming. That's how I become a corporate dropout. So
Yes.
please go and follow all of the things and join our Discord. The Discord is growing and we are pumping, and there will be lots of fun things like community game nights and such coming up in the future. So if you want to come hang out with all of the lovely nerds, please go to the Discord link in the show notes below. But that is all for this week, our lovely Chaos Gremlin.